What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the words North Korea?
North Korea over the weekend reportedly said its nuclear weapons could lead to the destruction of the United States.
Kim Jong-un's forces did respond, firing 2 ballistic missiles.
They promised a Christmas gift to the U.S.
Maybe it's a nice present. Maybe it's a present where he sends me a beautiful vase.
Now, what pops into your mind when you think about women in North Korea?
There will also be an invasion of cheerleaders.
Called Kim Jong-un's Army of Beauties.
One of her brother's closest advisors and had frequently been pictured alongside him.
What if there's more to this story than meets the eye? Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about something a bit more serious. It's easy to think of North Korea as just another extreme dictatorship. While that might be true, I want to focus on an issue that rarely gets discussed: women in North Korea. More specifically, women playing an active role in shaping the North Korean economy. Even in what is considered the most repressive regime on earth, women are finding ways to empower themselves.
That InterKorean Ties may have been left in ashes after North Korea blew up their joint liaison office.
North Korea as of late is very much in the public spotlight, even though it's not exactly positive. But I guess if you're Kim Jong-un's PR agent, any publicity is good publicity. However, this was not always the case. After the Korean War and even up into the late 1980s, North Koreans were relatively better off than their South Korean counterparts. This was a result of large amounts of aid being sent from North Korean allies, namely the Soviet Union and China. Among the things China and the Soviet Union supplied North Korea, the most important was cheap oil. This oil powered their factories, powered electricity, and powered farming equipment. Without this aid, North Korea's economy would have toppled from the jump. However, seeing as the USSR and China were both major communist superpowers at the time, and considering the fact that the Cold War made the Soviet Union more inclined to help out fellow communists, North Korea benefited from being a strict communist regime. And women too benefited during these early days, at least they appeared to do so on paper. North Korea, being communist, was hell-bent on equality of all forms, including gender equality. This has always been the case, even with North Korea's founding. Before the Korean peninsula split, women were involved in spreading communist ideations. I think this has something to do with the centuries of Confucian patriarchal ideals that existed during the Joseon dynasty. Women sought a way out of this system that was set up against them. Naturally, they turned to the Communist Party, which regularly preached about equality. Once in the party, women spread propaganda to their neighbors, friends, and family, and thus, communism began to take hold of the region. In many ways, North Korean legislation reflected this desire for equality. Laws such as the Gender Equality Law of 1946 granted women equal rights to inheritance, divorce, and child custody. And the 1946 Statute of Manual and Clerical Workers granted women equal pay for equal work. Paired with other legislation that banned child marriages and dowry, attempted to tackle the major task of undoing centuries of Confucian doctrine. So on paper, North Korea's attitudes towards women seem wonderful, but is that reality? Undoing centuries of patriarchal standards is much easier said than done. Women, while still expected to work like good communist citizens, were also expected to perform all traditional gender roles assigned to women, such as cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children. When Kim Il-sung said that he wanted to lessen women's workload, did he mean have the husband and wife share in the household responsibilities? Of course not. He just wanted North Korea to be advanced enough so that every household will have a washer, dryer, and other appliances. Women were still expected to do these things while men only had to focus on work. Traditional patriarchal values paired with strict communist guidelines spawned what is referred to as the communist mother ideal. The ideal pressures women to be dedicated housewives, obedient workers, and assimilate the next generation of citizens into the communist regime. If women fall short, they are stigmatized by society. North Korean law does allow married women to leave the official workforce in order to be housewives. However, like I just mentioned, not working means not meeting the communist mother ideal and therefore falling short of societal expectations. The unfortunate reality is that official work, especially for women, is not that rewarding either. While legislation demanding equal pay for equal work existed since North Korea's founding, in practice it did not really manifest. Women in North Korea are often assigned lower-paying positions and employed in less desirable jobs. But after the severe famine of the 1990s, women's role in North Korea rapidly began to shift.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
The end of the Cold War saw the end of the Soviet Union. While that was good news for the US and other capitalist nations, it spelled disaster for North Korea. Not only did North Korea lose a major ally, they also stopped receiving aid from the USSR. Without aid and much needed fuel from the USSR and China, there was no way to produce enough electricity and goods. The nation and the economy soon spiraled. Factories went into disuse. Farms that were essentially unoperational due to lack of fuel stopped producing enough food to sustain the population. Lack of food meant that the public distribution system broke down. Millions of people starved. And while there are some discrepancies in the data, it is safe to say that millions died of starvation, malnourishment, and other related illnesses. Even during this period of unrest, people were still expected to continue working, often for little to no pay. Married women registered as housewives and gave up official employment. And when things were initially starting to decline, employers often laid off their female staff first. Whether they left the official workforce out of their own volition or were laid off, more women during this time began to take part in illegal capitalist enterprises, doing whatever was necessary to ensure their family's survival. The most common form of capitalist enterprise included selling goods at the marketplace. This meant producing goods at home or scavenging for things to sell. But it also included more high-risk activities too, such as smuggling goods in from the Chinese border. In a nation where privatization is harshly punishable by law, women are becoming more and more involved in the illegal market system. In addition to selling goods at the market, women are also active in the restaurant business, oftentimes bribing authorities and forging documents that register the business as public domain. But, like I mentioned earlier, private enterprise is a crime in North Korea. If found guilty by the state, those engaging in private businesses could go to labor training centers or the notorious labor camps. This goes without saying, but North Korean prisons are extremely dangerous places to be. Starvation, torture, and abuses of all kinds are common occurrences. However, even with these severe punishments dangling above their heads, women are still actively engaging in the North Korean market economy. In part 2 of this series, I will attempt to answer why women choose to do this type of work and what capitalism means to them. I will also take a look at whether capitalism is a good thing for North Korea in general. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am by no means an expert on North Korean issues, so if you have any insight or want to discuss further, please do so in the comment section. Also, if you like this video and want me to discuss more serious topics in the future, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Bye!